The most visually beautiful headset is here, but let's see everything that this headset has to offer with hardware, software, tracking, comfort, and if it's worth the asking price with all of these combined. And some people say VR can't be dangerous. The Pimax Crystal is the most beastly headset I've ever had the pleasure of holding in my minuscule apartment rather than at an event, and the visual is astounding. Not only does it have the most resolution out of the major players on the VR market, but it even has a few extra features that most people don't know about. For example, the resolution is pretty high, and the colors and images are of course going to be more vibrant and more colorful to match, but did you know that it has a local dimming feature on the screen inside the headset? Long story short, when you look at a dark area on a VR headset or on most TVs and something is meant to be black, it turns the LED color black to simulate the darkness. However, this headset actually registers what areas are meant to be dark and turns off the individual pixels behind the screen to match. So not only do light areas appear more vibrant and images will appear sharper, but dark areas will be purely dark with zero light, which is meant to increase the immersion. Right here you can see me playing a horror game, and it's so dark that... Oh wait, I think I actually forgot to turn on the headset. Alright then, let's move on to the lenses. The headset has a 35 ppd lenses that can actually be interchanged with Pimax's 42 ppd lenses. And for those of you that have no idea what I just said, basically it already comes with good lenses and you can change them out for different lenses that are going to give you a higher pixel density, which is going to let you have a clearer, sharper image inside the headset than it already does. Speaking of which, the 35 ppd lenses also have an FOV of 125 degrees horizontal and 140 degrees diagonal, which is a big step up from the index that I normally use. And the 42 ppd lenses did not have any registered metrics, so I wasn't able to actually measure those because I actually currently don't own them. They're still in development. Also, to help adjust your IPD, which for those of you who don't know, your IPD is how far apart your eyes are, so you know where to put the lenses. It does have a feature to actually give you automatic IPD adjustment with eye tracking inside the headset. And in case you are somebody that prefers to do it yourself, there's also a manual switch on the front of the headset that you can use to manually adjust the IPD. And let's move on to the audio. So I mentioned how much of a step up this was from the Index, but this actually took a lesson out of the Index's book. I actually respect and appreciate the design that they put on the audio for this thing because they actually have the earphones hover above your ears. Most of the time whenever I'm playing VR and they have the little slits on the side of the head strap, it doesn't really help me with directional audio, and even when I have earphones, they're normally resting on my ears, which makes my head get a little bit hotter because something's covering my head more, of course. But Pimax's earphones are actually designed similar to the Index, where they hover above your ears, allowing for better airflow around your head. And as far as the quality of the audio, I would say that it's as good as my Index, if not better. And in case you were curious on what the microphone sounds like, here's a little interaction when I was playing with my friend in Ghosts of Tabor.
Okay, well, so you got the face shield. Do you know how the face shield works?
Hey, try and show them that you can deflect.
So you can do this. So you can do this. I've got a face shield on mine. You can like take the trigger and pull it up, and then you can like, oop, face shield, pull it down. You can actually move that for extra protection. But unfortunately, it doesn't do like it doesn't protect you against the chin. So that's one aspect of it that you got to watch out for.
Yep, informative as always, Cedric.
The headset also comes with two face pieces for those with a regular forehead and for those of you who have an issue finding a date. But in all seriousness, the foam on the headset is actually comfortable, and the way that it cradled my head rather than squeezing it felt really nice. And this headset actually does offer dual functionality. There's a separate power button on the headset because it does offer PCVR mode and standalone mode with no computer required. It comes with two 6000 mAh hot swappable batteries that in standalone mode last 2 to 2.5 hours, but in PCVR mode last about 6 hours. And it comes with this little charging cradle that you slide it into, and then you can swap them in and out from your headset, and it has an internal battery to make it to where it doesn't die as long as you swap them out within 60 seconds, so you can just continuously play and just keep swapping in and out the batteries. Currently the standalone mode is in development, so I don't have anything to report on that front, but it is operated by a physical switch on the headset, so you can actually switch back and forth from standalone and PCVR mode even when you're plugged into your computer. And for your PCVR pleasure, it has a secondary power source that it plugs into the wall, and it has has a branching off cables that go into the USB port on your computer as well as your display port. The controllers aren't anything to brag about, but they're also not anything bad either. They just feel like the Quest 2 controllers with an extra Pimax button. The tracking is about on par with the Quest 2 at the moment because it is limited by the inside-out tracking on what the headset can see. However, it being inside-out tracked means that you don't have to worry about setting up anything in your VR play space. So you could just have your Pimax Crystal, and if you want a PCVR, you could even have a laptop to bring with you. So it's very easy to just pick up and go with. However, before some of you tune out, because I know inside-out tracking can sometimes be a pain whenever it loses tracking and everything, it is going to be compatible with the Lighthouse faceplate that's coming soon with it that will allow people to be able to use their current Lighthouse base stations and Valve Index knuckles. Now let's talk about a few things that need improvement. The battery. While having a hot swappable battery is cool, having the headset powered enough to where that's not necessary would be better. I've had random streams sometimes where I play for 8 hours without realizing, and having something to where the headset would be powered enough to where that's not necessary would be better. Also, I would like for there to be a better solution for the battery cradle and for the battery holster inside the headset, something that makes it easier to swap in and out, because with the current way that you're supposed to squeeze and pull it, I sometimes feel like I'm gonna break it with how much I have to pull on it. Next up, the tracking. For social experiences, horror games, and VR combat, it seemed to work fine. However, for things like FPS games, I did notice the same issue that the Quest has, where while aiming and the controller gets a little bit closer to you, it would sometimes get stuck at a weird angle and be fixed there until I started just moving my headset around and trying to move my controllers around to get it unstuck. I do hope this is fixed over time, and I actually feel pretty confident that they will fix it over time with software updates. They're sending out continuous updates always to make the tracking better, even just one that released last week. Lastly, optimization. The image is very powerful inside the headset. However, it's so powerful that even while I tested it on my 3080 Ti graphics card and my 4090 Founders Edition's graphics card, and they could run it, they could only handle 2 extra monitors. Currently, I have a 3-monitor setup, so just to be able to run the Pimax Crystal, I did have to turn off one of my monitors just to be able to play the headset. It's not the biggest deal, of course, because you are in virtual reality. I could have infinite virtual monitors everywhere, but I would like a solution to where I don't have to turn off a monitor every time just to boot it up. I actually discussed this with my friend Eric from the Q2C VR community that also has the Pimax Crystal, and he recommended that I use a display port repeater, which does give it enough strength where I don't have to turn off the extra monitor to use the headset. And I would like to see Pimax include something like this while you're buying the headset because of how expensive it is. I hope that they'll include that in the future if they can't optimize it to be able to have more than 2 monitors active at a time. Overall, the Pimax Crystal is an amazing piece of technology, and although it still has a few things that they're still working on for it, like the 42 PPD lenses and the Lighthouse tracking capabilities, who knows? This could be my new favorite VR headset. I do think it's worth the money for this clear image for those VR enthusiasts who spend a lot of time in the virtual space. Because if you're going to spend hours on end every single day having that screen on your eyeballs, you might as well make it as clear as you can. This isn't a sale pitch, and this headset isn't going to be for everybody. I mean, if you're going to be just spending a lot of time in VR social type experiences, sitting around talking to your friends, you don't really need anything this beefy. But if you really want to be powerful in the VR space, be able to have the maximum type of render distance, resolution, and hopefully some of the better tracking whenever they have Steam VR tracking capabilities, this is the headset to get, and I hope to see more people trying it out. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to Pimax for sending me this and giving me a chance to try it out, and I hope to use it more in my own VR experiences. It may be expensive, but with everything that it has to offer, I'd say it's worth the money. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll be leaving some boxes playing in the corners in case you want to see any other tech reviews or VR comedy that I have to offer, and I hope all of you have a phenomenal rest of your day. Love all my VR fans, and I'm out.